he's the guy. So anyway, all right, let's move over to the other news.
And yeah, Ghost hated it. Ghost thought it was really boring.
So, oh yeah, of course, there wasn't a lot of JRPG weep. There wasn't a lot of weep stuff, like unless you liked Hoyoverse stuff. But if you don't like Hoyoverse stuff, like yeah, you're bad show for weebs. Bad show for weebs. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it was a bad show for us weebs.
Speaking of good things, Diablo Immortal.
Oh god.
Did you know it costs $110,000 to fully gear up a character in Diablo Immortal? By the way, I think it is literally just a character costs this much. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's more than one character.
No, it's one.
One character costs $110,000 to fully gear up.
And this isn't a set value. I've heard people say that maybe it's actually more than that, or I mean maybe it's less. We don't know, but like this was kind of a preliminary calculation that somebody did on this. That it's pretty rough is the point. Like we don't nobody knows what the real number is.
Nobody knows except for NetEase and the Blizzard people that were in charge of talking to NetEase. But I guarantee the Blizzard folks and NetEase got together at a table, so to speak, maybe over a Zoom call due to obviously COVID, and said, and NetEase was like, hey, like our games commonly to do like a full whatever gear setup, it usually costs like over $60,000 to $70,000 to do that. And what scares me is the Blizzard folks were nodding their head like, yeah, sounds good.
Do it, but make it even worse.
That's what scares me is that the guy who's like the director for Diablo Immortal on the Blizzard side, or like the head, it was the guy that said, don't you guys have phones? Like that guy who's like,
I forget his name. He was an Asian dude. I don't.
Yeah, he's still there, by the way. He's still there and like in charge.
I know he's like the game director, or I think he's the game director, but maybe he's executive producer.
Yeah, I don't like him. The point is, I don't like him. Professionally speaking, personally, maybe he's a wonderful person, but if he was at the table and was like, yeah, $110,000 sounds great. Maybe personally, I don't like him. That's like absurd. And I think from the video that we posted, who are the people? Oh my god, I can't remember the name.
Bellular.
Bellular, yeah.
The YouTube. They've done like 3 or 4 videos on Diablo.
They're a great channel, by the way. They do all the Blizzard stuff. They're a great channel.
Literally I had never watched them before that video. I watched that video. I was like, yeah, these guys are great, like talk show hosts, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of their stuff for other Blizzard games. They're great. They just focus specifically on the numbers and just analyzing the game, and they give their honest opinion, and I think they're fair too. Like they said that, look, the game is really fun up to a certain point. Like it's great. The mechanics work out extremely well. And playing it on a controller is great. But it all, like, Diablo Mortal is a fun game to play. That was very clear from them. Mm-hmm. I haven't played it. I can't attest to that.
But most people I've heard have said, most people agree that at least the gameplay, the game design of the game is good. The game is fun to play. It is a good action RPG, especially for a mobile game.
Correct.
And you can play it on, it's good on the phone, it's good on a controller, it's good on PC, all the control schemes work. The game is fun to play.
Right. Well optimized. Which is pretty rare actually for mobile games. Like, not even kidding. Pretty rare to have a mobile game like this well optimized for like this kind of gameplay. Pretty rare.
Which again, you can give the devs some credit for that, like we did with Genshin. It's like, yes, Genshin is a gacha game and it's pretty darn predatory, but at least they put some effort into making the actual game. And we can say the same thing for Diablo Immortal. At least the team that made the game, and probably a lot of them had nothing to do with the microtransactions,
No.
put a lot of effort into actually making a good game out of this.
No, there's a couple people with suits, and the guy who said, don't you have phones? And they said, okay, like NetEase particularly was probably like explaining like, hey, we're going to make this game. And then they went to Activision. They actually went around Blizzard. They went to Activision and said, hey, let's make a Diablo game. And we're going to make it like a gacha style game. Not gacha exactly, but like we're gonna put all these microtransactions in it, and we're gonna make you $110,000 for a fully loaded character. We're gonna get you that. We're gonna get you the whales, and they're gonna give you crap loads of money. And Bobby Kotick had, he had a chub. He immediately got a chub and said, okay. And then he went to Blizzard and said, you're making this. I don't care what you say, you're making it. And the old people that were at Blizzard at the time, that's when they heard it and started leaving. That's what happened. I'm convinced that's what happened now, with zero sources involved.
I mean, Blizzard at this point to me is completely dead.
Oh no, it's gone. It's gone. They're
pretty much the entirety of the old guard is gone.
Yep.
Whether because they just got old and retired, or again, as you said, they saw this side of this Activision creeping in, and then the last straw was stuff like Diablo Immortal. We're we're just not going to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah, we're just games. We have Diablo Mortal, Arclight Rumble. Arclight Rumble is going to get monetized to all hell. I think. I don't know how they couldn't think that was what's going to happen. There's no way they went with Activision, had a say on that, and said, this needs to be monetized, to all hell. It needs to be completely monetized like crazy. There's no way that conversation didn't happen. And I think people were saying Arclight Rumble, maybe it won't be so bad for the monetization. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible. I don't know why people think it's going to be otherwise. And Diablo Immortal's terrible. But for a mobile game, this is nothing new. This is how mobile games work. I think people are obviously just surprised because they're not used to mobile games, which, to be fair, I think that's okay. You're not used to that. But for a mobile game, this is a big number, right? This is normal. This is very normal, actually.
I think the problem is it's kind of it's a little bit different because it is a mobile game as opposed to an actual AAA product, and it is free to play, but it's kind of the Battlefront 2 effect a little bit, where it's this is a big well-known series that has 3 main installments, that this is a 20-plus-year-old series that is beloved by many people, and to see it get this treatment is making people very angry.
And a predominantly PC community.
Yeah.
Predominantly 95+% PC, with 5% console folks coming in Diablo 3, which was Blizzard's thing. Blizzard made PC games. They made some
Blizzard
console games
has only made PC games. Even
Overwatch was a console game, but that was very rare for them. It's very rare for Blizzard to make a console game. It is predominantly only console game that doesn't exist.
I feel like that was designed originally as a PC shooter, and they put it on console because it made sense.
Yeah, so, it made sense. It did make sense to put it on console. There's no reason not to try and increase its audience. That made 100% sense. Diablo Mortal, again, I think what happened was NetEase pitched Activision. Bobby got a half chub, probably a full chub.
Full. Yeah, definitely.
He went full mast on it. And that's how this got made. I don't think Blizzard had the idea to make this at all. I think NetEase either went to Activision, or Activision sought out NetEase and said, look, we want a mobile game. And they used the Blizzard Diablo product because it's a massive product with massive audience. And they're hey, this one feels like it could be monetized more than any other IP that you guys have.
Yeah.
So let's do that. And to me, Blizzard, a la 10 years ago, that hasn't existed for about since Warcraft Reforged came out, for me at least. When Warcraft 3 Reforged came out, that was it. That was it for me. At least the HOTS, HOTS and the HOTS team felt like a Blizzard game, actually, to me. That still felt like a Blizzard game. It was really HOTS... new. There was a lot of interesting innovations in the game. And there was tons of effort that looked like it was put into it.
Yeah, they just tried to do their take on League of Legends / Dota.
And it was late. It happens. But that felt like a Blizzard product. Warcraft 3 Reforged felt like an Activision product. And Arclight Rumble feels like it feels like an Activision product to me still, because it's not really it's not super innovative to me. It just looks like Clash Royale with some minor adjustments.
Yeah.
Diablo Immortal, I don't think it's not like innovative to me. There's nothing about it that screams like this is an innovation, like some of the other Blizzard stuff. Like, it's great for a mobile game, like for gameplay, but I don't know. Blizzard hasn't really done anything that screams to me like new IP innovative to the genre in some time.
The last one was Overwatch.
Yeah, Overwatch was really a really big one. That felt like a Blizzard product day one too. That really did feel like a Blizzard product day one. But
yeah, Warcraft 3 Reforged, I think, was like, it was one of those things where I don't think it was Activision's idea. So it was like some Blizzard people, like, okay, we want to remake Warcraft 3. But then Activision came in and, they're like, no, we can't. I think Activision just like pulled the budget out of that game. Basically, they're like, this isn't gonna make us enough money. This is gonna make money. Yeah. We're just gonna phone it in. And at some point, they're like, all right, we've run out of money. It's time for it to come out, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
So
they're like, the original cinematics that they showed off completely got cut out because Activision pulled the plug on the funding. They're like, no, this isn't gonna make it.
I think the vision there had good intentions from the the game designers and the directors, and Activision kind of pulled the rug out from under them on that one. It's like, nope, this isn't gonna make us enough money. So
and that was around the time HOTS lost its funding too. So the timing adds up. HOTS lost its funding, and Warcraft 3 Reforged, I imagine, lost its funding that same day. Somebody looked at the papers and said, "This isn't Candy Crush money." And they're like, okay, well, you gotta stop these. You gotta cut these. This isn't Candy Crush money. And
kill it.
Yep. And then they looked at Diablo Immortal's numbers and they're like, yeah, promote the shit out of this. What are we doing? This thing's gonna make massive amounts of money. I just feel bad because I think that, this is like kind of like a BioWare situation for me in some ways. Like, the old BioWare is completely gone. That's why I have zero excitement for Dragon Age 4 and any new Mass Effect. Like, I just have no excitement. Like,
this to me is just modern. It's just modern, like, corporate capitalism. Basically, it's just like, it's profits above all else. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about the consumer. They don't care about making a good product. They don't care about their employees. They just care about making as much money, exploiting you as much as possible, squeezing as much money out of you as they possibly can, and then go moving on to the next thing, or throwing you by the wayside, basically. So
there are definitely some products that do a better job, though they do like have those obvious trends of being like that. There are some products, for me at least, that I've played that I feel like, okay, are you asking me to spend money? Like, do you have reasons for me to spend money? Yeah, sure. Am I gonna spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in this case to do that? No. Like, okay, I'm just gonna use Fortnite for an example. Like, people can overspend on Fortnite for sure. Like, you could spend like hundreds of dollars any given week, month, whatever. But for me, I think Fortnite does a good job of being like, okay, here's your skins, here's a battle pass, here's Fortnite Crew, which you'll never, like, if you join Fortnite Crew, like, I don't know what you're doing. But, like, I like the battle pass in, like, Fortnite and things like I'm willing to spend on that. But
generally battle passes are like some of the best value in most free to play or like freemium games. Battle pass is going to be one of the best value you can get if you play enough to like do well in it and complete it, because they're timed most of the time as well. So.
And a shooter can't do what Diablo Immortal does. Like, shooters can't do that. But this is like Diablo Immortal and gotchas. There are certain genres where you can set up this kind of practice. I feel like Diablo Mortal shouldn't be getting away with this, but it will. But like, there are certain genres, like gacha games, get away with this all the time, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna monetize the shit out of this and fire your dopamine levels through the roof for your tatas, right? Yep. For tatas and anime things. And there's other genres like this too, like Clash of Clans kind of genres, where it's like that simulator. Like when I played all that mobile garbage, like there's like that town building simulator,
the town builder or base builder ones. Yeah, there's
timing stuff where you add the timers, and like a lot of that stuff is frankly a wet fart of kind of like a game. It's less of a game and more of like, again, it's like that casino mentality. This to me is like, it's unfortunate because like it seems like there's a good game in there for Diablo Immortal, but when you actually get into the game, you realize, wait a minute, there's a back room that you want to have access to, but when you get back there, a la level like 50, it's a casino.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, I thought I was in like an arcade, like just a normal arcade where I just play games, but then you realize, oh no, actually in the back there's a casino.
It's not even just the end game too. Like apparently once you get to, like the first 30 to 40 levels are relatively smooth, and then you just kind of hit a hard progression wall basically where
mobile,
you know. And they also have all these different like tiers of purchases. Like every dungeon they have like a new purchase, and they start really cheap. They'll start at like 90 cents or like $1, and then like they keep ramping them up, like $2, $5, $10, $20.
Yeah,
like
if you're willing to spend 90 cents, then they're gonna get you to 120.
They hook
make you feel like, 120 is not that much more, and then you get to 150, and then you get to 2, and then you get to 3, and you're like, your brain signals to you, oh well, you were fine with 90 cents. $1.20 is just 30 cents more, like no big deal. And then you realize like a week later, wait a minute, 90 cents turned into $20.
Yeah, and now a couple weeks later, and you keep doing these micros, and you've spent a couple $100 on the thing maybe, and it's like, oh, whoops, okay.
And that's super mobile practice.
I mean, yeah, it's exploitative. It's like, it's behavioral psychology. Like they throw every trick in the book at you. Basically.
Oh, absolutely.
They know how to manipulate you. They know how to creep into your mind and make sure that they get you on the hook, and keep you playing. The login rewards,
right?
Whatever.
And all that stuff is in, to a certain extent, in a game like Genshin, but they don't do what Diablo Immortal does with like the creeping pay to do like whatever dungeons, whatever you also have to do. Like Genshin's basically like, here's a battle pass, here's a 5-day $5 thing, here's gems you can go pull on new characters. They don't say like, hey, you want more books, more XP books, pay $1 and we'll give you more XP books. Like those are there in the store, but they don't prompt you to buy them. Like Diablo Immortal seems like it's prompting you to buy stuff all the time.
Every time you complete a new dungeon, they're like, hey, you completed a dungeon, you've unlocked the ability to pay for this, have fun.
And it's just like, that's what pisses me off about the mobile games, is the ones that are really bad. Genshin doesn't do this, which they if they wanted to make more, they probably could, but they don't prompt you to pay money all the frickin' time. What these kind of games like Diablo Mortal does, and like to a certain extent, like base sims do this too. The mobile trash that I was playing, all that stuff. They'll do that system. We're like, hey, did you know you can pay like $5 to speed this up? Did you know you can do this for $10? Did you know you can pay $1? Oh god, those are the worst. They're just they're gross.
The pop-ups and the flashing lights and the
those are gross. I hate those.
Yeah.
That's why I'm fine with something like Genshin. It's like, okay, you're not telling me to spend money every 3 seconds. So I'm more okay with you.
My big problem with gacha is I just think the pulls are just like absurdly overpriced.
Oh, of course they are.
We've talked about this before.
Of course they are.
Like it's like $25 to $30 for a single 10 pull. That's offensive.
Yeah.
Like,
no, of course it is. I mean, like really, it is.
If it costs like $5, which is what like a Pokemon card pack costs, I might be more willing to actually like buy pulls occasionally in a game like Genshin, but the pulls are $25 to $30
for a 10 pull. In Genshin,
it's offensively expensive. It's offensively expensive.
It's ridiculous. In Genshin, and again, that's not even the best way to do it too. Like
90% of the stuff you get in it is completely worthless garbage. Too.
It is. Like if you're lucky, 8 out of 10 of those things will be garbage. If you're lucky. Yep. You'll get maybe like maybe 2 4-stars. That would be like a good pull, actually. Obviously, getting a 5-star character is great, but like a good pull is like 2 4-star characters. That's a good pull.
And sometimes, like, you know, all 10 of them are garbage or at least worthless to you. Like,
oh yeah, no. In my case, I don't even do pulls anymore. I just wait for a new character and then I do a pull. There's no point in me doing pulls at this point. For me, at least. Like, I could get a new character that I don't have on the base list of characters, but it's just a waste of time for me. Like, I'll just bank it all up, and like, there's no point in me doing pulls.
Oh yeah, you mean this on this? You mean the standard?
Yeah, there's no point.
Banner, right?
The standard banner, like, I'm at a point where like it's worthless to pull on it. It does nothing, and I can accumulate stuff for that anyway.
I had pretty much gotten to that point, but when I stopped playing Genshin, I was like, yeah, I'm probably never gonna pull on the standard banner anymore. It's just not. It's not worth it.
It's worthless. Like, at some point, you figure that out.
And also, the base characters are like completely outscaled. Basically, there's so much power creep in that game with like the power level of the characters they're releasing.
Oh yeah, like if you're like a semi-pay player in Genshin, which I am, I do pay. I pay for Battle Pass and for the $5 30-day thing, but not all the time.
Yeah,
I paid.
When I played, I probably spent around $50 on Genshin doing Battle Pass and the $5 thing.
Yeah,
like,
so I've done that stuff, right? And like, I'm at a point now where my characters are good, obviously, but like, there are people who just like have spent obviously more than me, not just on pulls, but they spend money like, because when you make more pulls, you can get more stuff to increase all the levels of your characters, and they just play more, so they've made more progress. Their characters are like, the damage is just, it's absurd. Like, they had one event, which I'm not going to go too far into. Hoyoverse got in a little bit of trouble because one of their events, they made it really only playable for people who pay money. They really only made it playable.
It was only playable for
really
whales.
Only for whales. Like, I paid money a little bit, and I could barely do some of it. And it was like, you had to be astronomically powerful to complete it. And I paid money, and I played the game a good amount, and I could barely do stuff. And so they got some people were complaining, they got in trouble. They're like, hey, this is not a free-to-play friendly event. Like, free-to-play players can't play this. This is basically for only for people who pay, and that was a true statement. It was one event they did it, they got into trouble, and they've never tried doing it again. They've never tried doing that kind of thing again, because it was like, basically you have to do these like battle challenges, fighting against like certain enemies.
Let's be honest though, like, they don't like free-to-play players. They want you to pay.
They do. Like, they like you when you're free to play. Like, they're waiting for you to spend $5.
Yeah,
they're just waiting. They're like, hey, you're free to play, but once you spend $5, we got you now. But they need the free to play players, because then those players will tell their friend, and then the probability of getting a new paying customer, it goes up now because they told a friend. That friend might be more interested in paying than they are.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
A free to play player having that good experience still promotes a second person to then come in and maybe be a new paying player. So that's why you should be good to free to play players, which is why Diablo Immortal, these kinds of games make me annoyed, because I'm like, no, you should be good to them, because they're going to tell the friend, and that friend might spend money. That's what you want. You don't want to like get a free to play player, piss them off, and they're going to tell all their friends, no, it's not free to play friendly, because the non free to play people might still get turned off by that.
One more thing about Diablo Immortal, and we should probably move on because we've been on this for quite a while. The one thing that and other games that not just free to play have done this, the reviews for this game the game has like an 80 metascore or something like this, because people played the game, the reviewers got the pre-release, and they played the game. So it was before they turned the cash shop on. Like, you can't buy anything.
Yeah.
So they just play the game, and the reviewers like, yeah, it's a good game, so whatever, it's an 8. Okay, fine. And then they turn the cash shop on, and you're like, oh, hey, look, it's bullshit.
Yeah, for the reviewers, they're going to turn it off, of course. They're not going to leave that on for reviewers. Reviewers get pissed off. Like,
I mean...
And that's scummy. That's annoying. That's really scummy, too.
Like, that's... Like, to me, that is, like... I mean, it probably doesn't fall under this. You couldn't make this argument, but, like, basically false advertising. It's like...
Yeah.
You're giving them a review copy that doesn't have the whole game in it. Like...
Yeah, you're giving them a product that is not reflective of the final product. There's a bit of that, but like they're never gonna get in trouble for that. No game has any game actually got successfully sued or anything like that.
Oh no, of course
because
not.
they never will.
No one would.
No one's gonna try, and
I don't think it would hold up in court.
They'll never get held up.
I really don't.
Yeah,
but
so I don't know. Anyway, like you said, we've been on the topic for a while. Let's maybe move forward. I mean, Diablo Mortal. Yeah. My analysis of it is, I'm not shocked at all by this number because I know how mobile games work.
Yeah.
But this just like puts a huge stain on the franchise.
Oh yeah. And people are now like, okay, what are they gonna do? Like, what is Diablo 4 gonna be now? What are they gonna do with that game? Like,
sorry, my wife is vacuuming. Hold on. Anyway, okay. Let's see. There will be an additional Xbox Games Showcase extended show on June 14th, where Microsoft will share. Still vacuuming.
Yep.
Still, hold on. Okay. So, anyway, look, there's another extended show. Okay, that's pretty much it. Which, obviously, it's nice, but I guess it's just like deep diving into things that are shown from the event.
Yeah, that's my understanding of what it's gonna be, but we'll see.
But yeah, I mean, like 90 minutes.
Yeah. Which is
that's a deep dive.
As the normal show.
That's a deep dive. They're probably gonna pick like, I would say maybe 4 or 5 games and just deep dive each of those for like. Yeah. No, they'll probably pick like 10 minutes on 9 games is what I would imagine.
Maybe. Yeah.
That might be I would imagine. So I don't know. I mean, that's cool. Deep dives into things that are maybe potentially interesting. Of course, it could be all things that you're not particularly interested in, but.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna get like JRPG stuff at this thing. I'm not expecting that.
Yep.
But like, I'm interested to see what I want to see what Starfield actually is. Like, we better see some freaking Starfield gameplay at this event.
If we don't, massive disappointment. Massive disappointment. Starfield is just like has been in the oven for a really long time at this point. Just waiting.
Like, they already delayed it to next year, fine, but like, you have to have something that's playable at this point. Like, come on.
I agree.
So yeah, Starfield and Redfall, which is that other like vampire Bethesda game. Yep. Maybe Fable. I know that they announced a new Fable thing a while ago.
What's it called? The one that looks like Skyrim. Avalon, I think.
Oh, that one too. Yeah.
Probably get that. Probably get some stuff on Outer Worlds 2. Probably get something for that. Probably get something on Sea of Thieves. They'll probably have some big update for Sea of Thieves to share. Because Sea of Thieves is still going. They'll probably share some really extensive stuff on Game Pass, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I want to do a reach. I want to do something that's a huge reach. And I want to say this is a massive reach. I know they're going to talk about Starfield. I think we'll get Elder Scrolls 6. Something. Oh, that's a massive reach. That's such a long reach.
I don't think they're even working on that game yet. I
think we'll get a discussion with somebody at Bethesda and concept art. I think that's what we'll get. We'll get it for Elder Scrolls 6. They're not going to give it any sort of release date and no gameplay, nothing. They're just going to say, here's some concept art and here's Todd talking about it. Here's Todd.
Hard disagree.
I don't think they'll
even mention it.
Massive reach. Can't wait to be wrong. Massive reach. They'll probably talk about Halo, and nobody will be interested because they've completely fucked up Halo at this point.
Yep. That was a bungle and a half.
God. They got to first base just fine, and then they hit a double actually to start, and then they're like, oh, what do we do now?
And then they got picked off second.
And then they got picked off. They just got picked off.
They took their lead, fell asleep, and then they threw behind you, and you got picked off.
Massive failure. They'll talk about Halo, but yeah, I don't know that game.
Man, I might even said they hit a triple. Like
they did do really well.
There was so much hype on Halo when that game came out, especially after Battlefield and Call of Duty were disappointing this past year. People were like, man, Halo's back. Halo's great. It's awesome. Oh, man.
Here's a small reach. They're going to announce Halo Battle Royale. They're going to announce a Battle Royale.
Yeah.
That's a small reach. There's no hype around Halo. They got to do it. They got to reach.
Yeah.
You got to reach for something.
Yeah.
There's no hype. You got to say like Battle Royale. You got to say Battle Royale. They got to reach. There's Elder Scrolls 6 was a massive, like, definitely not going to happen reach, but I just really wanted to say something about it. That one I think is actually more realistic to happen. I think we'll hear like Phil's going to come on, Phil Spencer, he's going to go Halo Battle Royale. And people are going to be like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm somewhat interested again. How's that going to work? That's another one.
Yep. But all they needed was a sack fly to win the game, but they got picked off third and then struck out twice.
They got picked off third, struck out twice, and then got beaten with a baseball bat. That's what happened. And the ball hit them.
Got beaned.
He got beaned by the ball. Yep, got beaned. There's all sorts of horrible things. Oh, any other thoughts?
No, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what they have on Sunday.
Introducing the Capcom Showcase, a new live stream digital event bringing you the latest Capcom game information. Tune in June 13th, 3 p.m. Pacific, for 35 minutes of news and in-depth updates on previously announced Capcom titles. Okay, so news and in-depth updates on previously announced titles.
Yeah.
Nothing new, it seems like. Maybe we'll get to see one new thing. So, Resident Evil Village VR, Resident Evil 4,
Street Fighter,
and
those are
the main ones
I can think of right now.
Those are the main ones. King of Dragons 2. That'll be the last one.
Yeah.
Maybe Mega Man. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
They didn't announce it or anything, but like maybe they'll say like, "Hey, look, Mega Man." Mega Man. That's an IP that Capcom has. That's an IP.
They don't seem to care about it much.
They literally don't give two shits about it. They do not care about Mega Man whatsoever. They're like, is it Resident Evil? No. Well, is it Street Fighter? No. Who cares? They're like, but Mega Man's like a really...
we'll probably see Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter. Yeah, Monster Hunter. That's right. Yeah. That's not Mega Man either, so...
Yeah.
I miss Mega Man. Mega Man being super cool.
Mega Man.
Mega Man X. I miss it being super cool. Now it's just a gotcha mobile trash game that makes me angry. Anyway, any other stuff with Capcom? I don't know. I'm not a big Capcom stan, so
no, I'm not either. I really don't play. I don't play Monster Hunter. I'm not really a fighting game guy, especially not. There are some fighting games that sometimes I'll like check out that look interesting, but like I don't really like Street Fighter.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I've played Resident Evil in the past, but I'm not a huge horror guy or Resident Evil guy at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Mario Strikers reviews. I heard something about Strikers. I want to say it. I'm not sure if it's correct or not. So I want to... where'd my video go? My audio just disappeared for this. There we go. I heard there's no campaign in this game.
Yeah, apparently as far as single player modes go, there is obviously like just quick match, you can just play a game,
right.
Which any sports game is gonna have that.
Right.
And they have a like a cups, like there are like 6 different tournaments basically, like cups that you can play.
But there's no like
pretty Mario, much it as far
Mario
as
Golf style campaign.
Like this game is seeming like very content light again, kind of like Mario Golf, to be honest. They said they're gonna add more as DLC, but kind of with Mario Golf, you know, by the time the DLC came out, people were kind of done with it, so it didn't.
What is going on? Can I ask you a question? Like, what's going on with Nintendo with some of these like sports titles? Like, okay, golf, Wii Sports, and this Wii Sports. No, not Wii. Sorry, Switch Sports did not have golf. Golf was my favorite mode from Wii Sports. No golf. Okay, Mario Golf was like missing a lot of content for me. I liked that game too, but missing a lot of stuff would have made it more interesting. And they're like, yeah, don't worry, in 6 months we'll get something. In this, I feel like they're going to do it again. They'll be like, yeah, in 6 months we'll get you some more. What the frick is going on?
There's only 10 characters. Like that, my big thing is like, yeah, I would like single play. But there's only 10 characters in the game. The one that I've heard, most people are like, where the fuck is Daisy? Daisy isn't in the game. Like,
something's going on with Nintendo and it's pissing me off. I'm pissed. I'm so angry. I'm spitting all over the place. And it's just like, I'm so frustrated because every time one of these Nintendo sports games comes out, they're like, don't worry, we're going to give you free DLC in 6 months. And my answer is, why don't you just delay it 6 months and give us the appropriate amount of content for the game? 10 characters? Your squad is, what? You get 2 main characters, but you get 2 main...
Well, now all the characters on the field. In the previous games, you had just like one main character on the field, and then you had like 4 like Toads or Koopas or. In this one, you pick 4 of the actual roster. Like you pick 4 out of the 10 characters.
So like half the roster is chosen, almost half, right? You pick almost half the roster that is available. Okay, so what is going on with Nintendo? What is this? Who at Nintendo is like at every meeting like, is this a Nintendo sports game, guys? Yeah. Let's MVP this. Let's give like the limited, most bare bones essential content to get the game out, and then 6 months later we'll put the correct amount of content out. Who is that? I'm sick and tired of them being in every meeting. They're pissing me off.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating that it seems like the sports games in particular have this problem. Not like Smash, Pokemon's going to be what I would expect. Like the new Pokemon's going to have the full suite of features that I expect to have in it, obviously. Any new Zelda game or Mario game is going to have this. What is with the sports games? What's going on?
Yeah. I don't know if it's maybe they're not given enough time. Maybe the budget is pretty low for these games. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Everything I've heard is that like the game is really fun to play. I did hear one guy say that he didn't like the gameplay that much compared to the old ones, but most of the other people I've said do like this one. But yeah, the game is just really lacking in content again, which is the big issue. But most people seem to agree that the actual gameplay is quite fun. So what's there is quite good, but the content is definitely lacking, especially in the single player mode category, and then the number of available characters as well in this one. Apparently there are a lot of customization options for your stadium from what I've seen, which is kind of cool.
Nice. That's nice.
Seems like they focused a lot on the online mode, the club mode, the ability to like customize your stadium. The focus was for this game. There were more characters.
I wish there was about 2 more. At least 2 more. Daisy.
Give me, Daisy for sure.
I don't know the full roster. But
let's see: Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Toad, Wario, Waluigi, Rosalina, Yoshi, and there's one more.
I didn't hear Boo, the pumpkin Boo, the Boo, the ghost.
No, Boo's not in it.
Okay, where's Boo?
And Bowser. I meant did I say Bowser? I don't know.
I thought you did, but
or maybe Peach. Like, did I maybe miss Peach? But yeah.
Rosalina, you said Rosalina.
Yeah, Rosalina is in it.
No Daisy and no Boo, the ghost. Where's Boo?
Yeah, no Boo, no Koopa, no no Birdo.
Yeah, Birdo. Yeah, I'm okay with Birdo. But like
Birdo's in some of them, not all of them.
But where's Boo? Where's the ghost? I'm disappointed. Boo's in the freaking Mario Golf game. They put him in the golf game with that roster. And they're like, yeah, let's not put him in the soccer one. Like, how hard is it to get 2 characters in before this thing gets in it? Like, I'm so confused. Anyway.
Apparently the animations are pretty nice and pretty extensive in this game, but and every character has a unique hyper strike as well. But I don't think it's like that much work to add like 2 more characters.
I don't know.
Especially or even just one more. Just put freaking Daisy in the game. People just piss that Daisy is in the game. I don't personally like Daisy, but there are some Daisy stands out there. So yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like this every time with sports game. Nintendo's like, is it a sports game? Okay, skimp the content. It's like, guys, just delay it 6 months and put the content that should be in there in there. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, but they need something to release over the summer, so you got to put the Mario Sports game in there.
I guess. And people are gonna, well, judging. I mean, like, I think the people that were gonna buy it are gonna buy it. I don't know how like these reviews are gonna sway people. Like for me, I'm still interested. I just feel like they do this with every sports game. They're like, okay, let's just like limit the content, and I'm like, or you could stop doing that. Any other stuff?
Nope.
Okay. Well, pre-purchasing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition broke the site.
Yeah, this was a fiasco.
It broke the site. Okay. I gotta be honest, I don't know what they expected. Like, you had to know when you're gonna release something like this. Like, okay. This is a complete shot in the dark when I say this. I feel like there are certain games fan bases that are more interested in the collector's editions than other fan bases. For example, I don't want the Call of Duty collector's edition, and I'm sure there are some fans that will, but I think there's more interest for a JRPG collector's edition that looks like this than some of these other like collector's editions that are like, here's Master Chief's helmet. That's a complete shot in the dark. But why aren't you expecting
JRPG fans I don't buy them a lot. I occasionally buy them, but like in general, us JRPG fans, we love our collector's editions.
You do.
We want the figures, we want the art book, we want the soundtrack, we want whatever the heck they are.
Yeah, no. You want everything.
Plushies, want the cute plushies, we want the stickers, we want the keychains, whatever the hell they're bundling in these things. JRPGs don't sell as well as a lot of these mainline games, but man, the fans of these series, they love their games, and they're going to go out and they're going to buy them every single time, and they are going to buy that fucking collector's edition.
You do. So. Which is why I'm like, Nintendo, how did you not expect 1 million people to go to your website at once? How did you not expect that? That's what gets me here. Is like, Nintendo should have known. They should have known better. I know better, and I'm not even a super JRPG hardcore fan, and I know this was going to happen. Like, I could have told you, like, instantly, like, hey, we should have a capacity on our site to handle 1 million users at one time, because that's what's going to happen. Yeah, you're dealing with bots. Yeah, that's true. If they didn't handle bots well, they're just going to get scalped.
Yeah, I know. I don't think they're. I definitely saw some screenshots. I think it was on maybe it was Twitter or Reddit, but right. But yeah, there were definitely copies of this up on eBay the day this came out. People saying they got it and they were selling it for twice the price or something like that. So definitely scalpers getting their hands on some of these too.
Yeah, and look, they're like, pre-purchase of the special edition will be made available again at a later date. Like,
yeah, they took it down and they're gonna try again at some point. But I don't know what they're gonna change. The same thing is gonna fucking happen.
It's gonna be the same thing. Like, which is why what Valve did with the Steam Deck is how you have to do it. But Nintendo's not gonna do that. Valve had like a whole system in place for that, where like you had to have had an account for like a certain number of like a certain period to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. Like your account had to have existed for a certain period of time. I mean, but that's like expecting Nintendo to be one, smart enough, but two, go the extra mile to know that. Be like, okay,
Nintendo still doesn't understand the internet. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I know, and it pisses me off because I'm like, Nintendo should understand it. Like their games are like, they have a bunch of these games that are like perfect for online play, and they keep screwing it up, and it makes me angry because I'm like, you guys make a lot of money, and you invest it in the weirdest places. Sometimes you just do these weird things. I just don't understand it. But I'm shocked that they didn't prepare for that. I'm shocked that the people aren't preparing for these scalpers, for these bots that are going in and doing this. Like, you are Nintendo of America, maybe not always like, but like, you have multi-billion-dollar companies, and nobody has said, "Hey, don't you think people are going to start scalping our stuff, our games, our consoles?" And nobody can figure this out. It's just like, or you could start like putting in like some protections in place for certain things. You can't protect everything, but it just seems like people are not doing a good enough job. Yep. And I'm like, there's probably a way to do better on this.
I mean, with the scalpers, like, the best way to stop scalpers is don't buy it from the scalper.
Yeah, but people do.
I know they do, which is the problem.
It is a problem. It's a problem because...
But if you let that scalper with 30 PS5s in their garage, let those PS5s just rot away and they don't sell them, yeah, they're going to think twice before they try that shit again.
Yeah, or they'll just... Yeah, well, I mean, that scalper is probably just going to sell it locally then and get away with it anyway. But yeah, it's just like... I think Valve's approach to it was like a good starting point. Just like, okay... Your account you have to have an account. It had to have existed for a certain period of time. You make a $5 deposit and then you pay for the rest of it. We'll message you and you pay the rest of it. Which is what happened for me. I put in a $5 deposit and the one I wanted. I had to have an account that existed for like several months, I think it was, or something like that, maybe a month. And like, that was a decent approach. It probably didn't solve the problem completely, but it was a decent enough approach where I thought, okay, at least you seem to have thought ahead. But then there's like this kind of stuff where I'm just like, this is going to get scalped. Like, just plan ahead. Yeah, one per account. Just say, okay, you can only do this once for your one account. Yeah, authentication needed to be purchased. Like, that was what they did. And it was a good idea. Like, it was a good approach.
Again, I'm sure it doesn't stop the scalping entirely, but it sure does help.
It makes it really difficult.
Yeah.
It makes it more difficult. And that's what you have to do. You just make it harder. Like, that's all you have to do. Just make it as challenging as possible for a scalper. That's it. That's all you got to do. Are they going to probably do it anyway? Yeah, sure. Of course they are. But make it difficult.
Some of them will, but some of them won't. Some of them it will be too much hassle. Some of them will.
Yeah, or they just won't be able to acquire as much. They just can't acquire as much.
They won't get as many.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good approach. Just don't let the bots crash your site. Yeah. Well, I guess our job's done here. Great work. Yeah, I agree. Nintendo. That's just Nintendo's a funny company. So I just Nintendo's a funny company. They could be so much more. For certain things, their first party IPs, great. Their internet, dinosaur.
Nintendo makes great games, and that's about it. Everything else about them is pretty trash.
They're so frustrating. It's so frustrating when you see that, too. Because you're like, if only we could take your game-making power and put it to somebody else. Somebody else could probably make better use of this.
Yep.
And figure out how to deal with internet. It's like it's like Nintendo still has dial-up. They're like, wait, you don't need dial-up anymore? He's like, yeah, it's crazy.
Can't have a competent internet service.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I don't. Yeah. Well, anyway,